Modern gaming isn't that bad. You guys are just playing bad games. Hold on before you get your pitchforks. Give me a chance to explain myself before we start typing that hate comment down. Modern gaming is a strange landscape, and it's filled with a lot of content. Now let me be clear. There's a lot of bad games out there. A lot of bad games. But there's a lot of good games too. The past 3 years, we've been graced with some absolute bangers. I have my own problems with modern gaming, and I'm sure you do too. One of those problems is them releasing unfinished games. One of the worst problems with modern gaming is when a studio releases their game unfinished. I don't mean that you can't make it to the end of the game. This is when a game doesn't feel like a full release, but more like a beta or a demo due to the amount of issues and bugs it has. This is coming from a guy who made an entire video dedicated to developers, asking them to stop releasing unfinished games. Bugs in a game are fine, and sometimes inevitable, but they shouldn't overtake the game. You only have one good first impression. My impression of Cyberpunk 2077 is that I don't want to play it again because of my first experience with it. Yes, I understand that they fixed the game in post, and they're still updating the game to make it better, but it's been 3 years since the game came out. I don't care that they fixed it now. I already beat the game. I don't have time to replay it just because now it's polished. It should have been like that at release. And that's just one example of an unfinished game. Another thing we have plaguing modern gaming is the Battle Pass system. Oh boy. Battle Passes are way better than loot boxes and other microtransactions. However, I don't think every game needs a Battle Pass. Free-to-play games, that makes sense to me. Even games like Rocket League. Rocket League allows the Battle Pass to continue past 100, to continue to get actually cool cosmetics for your car. But not everyone wants to play your shitty Battle Pass every 2 to 3 months just to keep up with your shitty cosmetics. I miss the old days of map packs, like Call of Duty map packs. Mwah, those were beautiful. It's cool that we get free maps now, but it's way less content than we used to get. All these developers have to waste their time populating the battle passes with shit we don't even want. It's a waste of time for the player and the developer at this point. And then the other problem with modern gaming, the rising cost of games. And it's just becoming more expensive. I'm not sure whether or not to give this one a pass because everything is more expensive nowadays, but did they really need to raise the price to $70? Honestly, I don't know. But I know it sucks. It's not all bad. Even with all the bullshit I've mentioned that developers are doing, and to be clear, when I say developers, I'm not directly blaming them. I am fully aware that executives push them to make these decisions, and it's not all their fault. Modern gaming isn't all bad. There are some fantastic parts of modern gaming. Some of the best games I've ever played came out within the last 3 years. Now let's talk about the good side of modern gaming, time and content. As an adult, I have less and less free time every day. That doesn't mean I don't want a 150-hour plus RPG that I can sink all my time into. That means I want a good 150-hour RPG that doesn't feel like it's full of filler content to keep me busy. I'm happy to say there's a few I can think of immediately that are full of content and doesn't feel like filler. There's games that are worthy of our time. I'm trying to think of one. What was that one popular game that came out last year? It was about you choosing a class and I don't know, you could use magic or fight with weapons, going through a desolate land full of undead things, something about us being tarnished, and there was like this giant tree or something. I honestly don't know, but that game was worth my time. I truly believe the Game Pass is one of the best gifts Microsoft has given us. They've given power of choice to the player. You'll even see that they put AAA launch titles on their Game Pass day one of release. It's not only affordable, but you can't beat that deal as an Xbox gamer or PC gamer. They didn't have to put the Game Pass on PC. They could have used it as marketing to make you get an Xbox, but they didn't. They gave us the option to use our PC. I still think it's quite silly that console players have to pay to play with their friends online, even though they pay for their internet separately. It's just silly, but at least Microsoft provides the Game Pass, which is an unbeatable deal. If you still don't believe me that modern gaming isn't as bad as you think, then allow me to tell you about a few games that came out the last few years. Resident Evil Village came out in 2021, and that was an absolute banger. It slapped quite hard. It was released as a finished product as well. I didn't run into any bugs while playing it. Then we have Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart. That's a great PS5 title. I'm a bit biased because I grew up with Ratchet & Clank, but this game is worthy of being one of the greats. Not only that, but they ported it to PC this year. Fucking Elden Ring. By far one of the best games of all time. That game is the culmination of every From Software game into a beautiful package. I sunk 133 hours into that game on one single playthrough without New Game Plus. It was that good throughout. How about God of War Ragnarok? That game was so much fun with such a rich emotional story. I enjoyed the hell out of that game. It was a true sequel to God of War, and I'm excited to see what game they have coming next. Then you have Valheim. This game came out of nowhere. This was an indie title, and it's still relevant today. There is so much content in that little package. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't even play this one. Then I heard about it from all of my friends and the goddamn internet. The Dead Space Remake. That game was so amazing, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. It was like the perfect remake. What a remake should be. Resident Evil 4. Do I even need to say anything about that game? Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This was a fantastic evolution of what Respawn Entertainment did with their first game. It was bigger, better, and more with all of its aspects. Diablo 4. This game was... Just kidding. They're an example of what not to do. They're an example of what's wrong with modern gaming. Baldur's Gate 3. I am in love with this game. It might be one of my favorite games of all time. I wasn't that hyped for it before it came out. I barely knew what it was before it came out. When I was convinced to try it, oh my god. I'm only 50 hours in it right now. I'm in Act 2, and boy, I think I'm gonna have to make a video about Baldur's Gate at some point. Hogwarts Legacy. The long-lasting dream of a Harry Potter fan finally came true this year. You can now roleplay your way through Hogwarts, which is beautifully crafted, and you get to be a fucking wizard. You've always dreamt of being a wizard, at least I have. That's a solid ass game. Spider-Man 2 is coming, and it's not even out yet, but I know Insomniac Gaming is going to crush it with that game. I loved the first one, and I am very excited for Spider-Man 2. Then we have Starfield, and despite what you may say about the game, it's a new Bethesda game. That's a pretty big deal, as we haven't gotten one since Fallout 4. We don't talk about Fallout 76. That didn't happen. That wasn't real. That wasn't real. That wasn't real. Are all of those games perfect? No. Bruh. But they are damn near perfect, and I'm sure to some of you, one of those games I mentioned is perfect in your eyes. If I happen to mention your favorite game, let me know in the comments down below. And if I didn't, what's your favorite game? These are just a few of the fantastic games that came out in the last 2 to 3 years. These games define modern gaming for me. I don't let the shitty ones, devoid of real content, maxed out with shitty battle passes, define quote-unquote modern gaming. All I've been saying is that modern gaming does have its hiccups. However, it's not all bad. There are some games that are beautiful in the way that they're crafted. Games that you and I can fall in love with. Creativity isn't dead. There are plenty of writers and developers finding new ways to be creative. If you think modern gaming is all terrible, then maybe you're playing the wrong game. Anyway, I'm gonna go play some Baldur's Gate 3. I'll see you guys in the next video, and hopefully you find a game that you love in these modern times.